Hey y'all, it's Jasmine, and welcome back to my practice. Today we are resting. That's right, yoga for bedtime. We're going to slow down, soften our bodies, and then settle into poses that's going to initiate rest. Whew, I got it, y'all. It took me about 8 times to say that. So, with today's practice, we're going to open up with an intention by starting with a breath work. And then we're going to have a couple of poses like cat cow, thread the needle, supine twist, and we're going to end in shavasana pose. You also have the option of doing a leg up the wall, just anything that will help you initiate and kind of melt into that rest with our final pose in shavasana, but we're not there yet. And as always, before we get started, if you have any props such as blocks, bolsters, even yoga blankets today, if we're really going to kind of do the full shebang of resting, feel free to bring those to your mat. I have a couple of blocks that we're going to use today. And then I also have my bolster that I'm sitting on currently. So I'm just going to move my blocks over here, and we're going to begin in an easy seated pose here. So, with this pose where you can sit crisscross applesauce or you can have your legs out, whichever feels comfortable for you. And again, we're going to open this practice up with some breath work. So, there's many different breath options that you have. You can do box breathing, but today I'm just going to do a simple inhale for 2 and then exhale for 4. So, really just kind of creating some calm and some breathing throughout to really help my body rest. So, I'm going to show you this example. Feel free to use it or whichever your favorite breath technique is. And then we're going to allow just some moments for you to kind of tap into that breathing. So, again, getting kind of seated into your pose here. And then feel free, if it's comfortable for you, to close your eyes. If not, a soft gaze looking downward works as well. So, let's get started. So, relaxing my shoulders here and just kind of feeling how my body feels today. Inhale for 2, exhale for 4, inhale for 2, exhale for 4, inhale for 2, exhale for 4. I'm going to go quiet and allow for you to breathe on your own, allowing your breath to really lead your body today and guide us through your practice. And take your deepest inhale for today's practice and exhale, let it out through your mouth. Feel free to open your eyes if they've been closed and meet me down in tabletop position here. I'm just going to move my bolster off to the side of my mat. And here in our tabletop position, I always like to be mindful of our alignment here. So ensuring that your shoulders are over your wrists here, and then the same with your hips and your knees. So again, always wanting to make sure that our bodies are safe in our practice as well as accessibility. So those are things I just like to call out here. So, as we prep for cat cow, again, just to be mindful to utilize your breath. This practice is all about us really allowing our breath to lead our practice, initiating that rest, really softening our bodies, and really just slowing down. So, inhale, drop your belly here. And then looking upward, exhale, roll your spine. Inhale, dropping your belly. Exhale, roll your spine. And repeat a couple of cat cows on your own here. moving with your breath. And do one more full round of cat cows. And then meet me back into tabletop position here. So I'm just going to move my bolster as we prep for thread the needle here. So we're going to start out with our left side here. And I always just like to lift my arm and kind of bend my elbow. Let my body know that we're getting ready into this thread the needle pose. And inhale, lifting your left arm all the way up here. And then bringing it right underneath your right arm. Straightening your right arm out here and resting on the back side of your left shoulder here. As we breathe into our bodies, lift yourself up by pressing into your right hand, meeting me back into a tabletop position. And then with your right arm, lift it halfway and then bring it back to the ground here. And then lift your right hand all the way up. Nice twist. And then we're going to thread our right arm underneath our left arm here. And now we're resting on the back of our right shoulder. As we continue to breathe and prioritize our breathing, and softening our body with each breath. And bring yourself up by pressing into your left arm here. And now we're back into our tabletop position. Now we're going to get into child's pose here. You can touch your two big toes. And if you know the pose that you want to get into, if there's a specific variation of child's pose, please get into that. But I'll show you a couple of options here. I have my two big toes touching here, and then I'm going to bring my hips back here for a child's pose. And just the options that I will show you here is kind of what to do with your arms. So you can have your arms straight out in front of you. You can also widen your arms to give you space. I am so country, y'all. Widen your arms to give you space here. And then you can also rest your hands, your head on your hands, or you can bring your blocks. And I'm just going to rest on my block here today. And forehead on my block. And sit into child's pose here. Return to your tabletop position here. And then we're going to get into a low lunge position. So I'm going to take my left leg and then just bring it around into a low lunge here. And then you can use your blocks to help you stand up. We're just going to get into a low lunge position. And then we're going to bring our right hands down and then lean over to our right here. Feel free to grab your blocks. Leaning over to your right for a side stretch. Feels super yummy. And again, allowing your breath to lead the way for today's practice. I'm just going to switch over here. Inhale, sweeping your hands up. Now taking your left hand over and then stretching on the right side of your body in this low lunge position. I'm just going to move my block here. And then we're going to return back to a tabletop position. And then bringing your right legs around here for your low lunge. Inhale, sweeping your arms up. Then you're going to take your left arm and then stretch over to your right. And you're like, Jasmine, what am I doing with my left arm? You're placing it on your block or you're reaching towards the left side of your body. I'm just going to move that over here. And now sweeping your arms up. You're going to take your right arm, stretch it, reach it to the ground or your block, and then stretching the left side of your body here. And then return back to your tabletop position here. And then we're going to move towards a seated position with our legs straightened out here to the front of us here. So your legs are straightened out, and I'm going to bring my blocks here. You can also utilize your bolster if you like to sit up as well. But we're going to do a seated forward fold here. So a couple of different options for us. So you can inhale, sweep your hands up, and then take your arms and then see where they fall first. If they're falling towards the top of your legs, and then you can just hinge at the hips here for a forward fold. And then see if you can reach your arms out. I'm pretty short, so my arms are probably touching the bottom of my feet here. But there's a couple of different areas that you can hinge into. So you can have your hands resting on your shins here at the top of your feet. Or you can take your two fingers here and then wrap them around your big toe and hinge for a seated forward fold. You can also take your hands and wrap them around the outer edge of your feet here in a forward fold. And then you can have your blocks here as an extension of either your legs or your feet. And you can wrap your hands around here. So I'm just going to today take my two peace fingers and wrap them around my big toe as I hinge at my hips here for a seated forward fold. We're breathing. Inhale halfway lift, and then exhale. See if you can just bend a little bit deeper here into your seated forward fold. And then if you can sit up for me here. We're going to inhale, sweep our arms up. Take your right hand and then place it on the ground here. We're just going to do a side stretch. Inhale, sweep your hands up, and then take your left hand and then stretch over to your right here. Well, stretch over to your left for the right side of your body. All right, sitting up in our seated pose with our legs straight out in front of us. I'm going to just move my blocks over here and then get ready for a supine twist. So, if it feels great for you to just kind of move your props, if you have them on your mat near you, feel free to do that. So, I'm just going to lie on my back here for our supine twist. So we're going to lie here and we're going to bend our knees here. So we got our feet flat on the earth with our knees bent here. And if you like, if you can take your left knee here and bring it towards your chest. And then feel free with your opposite leg. You can straighten it here or you can keep it bent. And then we're going to bring our left leg over to the right. And again, it could be on top of your right leg as well. And then feel free to take your right hand and then bring it over all the way. And this can kind of help you anchor. Feel free to have your left hand straighten out here. And then you can look over to the left side here for your supine twist. A lot of different options for your arms. You can have your right arm holding your left knee, or your right arm could also be in a T position. And I'm just going to hold my left knee as I bring it over and breathe into this pose. Return to the center here, and then take your right knee and bring it up towards your chest here. Feel free to straighten out your left leg, and then take your left arm, bring that right knee over to the left side of your body here. Again, your left hand can be in a T position or holding your right knee. And then you are looking to the right side of your body. And with each breath here, let's see how you can soften your body, allowing your body to melt. Return to the center here. And so now, as we get ready for Shavasana, there's a couple of different options that I will present to you today. So we can lay in constructive rest here with your knees touching and your feet flat on the ground here. Arms rested in a T position. This is an option. You can also do legs up the wall. So bringing the back side of your buttocks up to the wall, and then you can rest on the wall, very similar to this. Or you can have your legs straightened out in front of you for your more traditional savasana. And then you can also take one of your props, if you like your bolsters, and place it under you if you really want to just melt into that resting. And so I'm just going to take the traditional shavasana today and allow my body to melt into the mat. I deserve this rest. You deserve this rest. So before I go quiet, I'd just like to offer you to remember what intention you set earlier in today's practice, and to see how you can take that off the mat with you. Again, my intention, I didn't share it with you, but it's to rest. I deserve to. I don't always have to be busy. I'm going to sit with that thought as I breathe and allow for me to go quiet, for you to think as well. Begin to open your eyes. I always encourage if you have additional times to sit in Shavasana, please do so. But if you are coming out with us, feel free to begin to open up your eyes, wiggle your fingers and toes, and bringing yourself back. And feel free to roll over to whichever side feels comfortable on your side. You may be off your mat, you may be not. It's totally fine here. As we sit into this fetal position just for a moment. Not me hungry, y'all. And then sit yourself up. Thank you for joining me in today's practice. This practice you can utilize after a long day, before you're getting ready to go to bed, really helps you rest. That's my goal today. I really want to rest. I want you to rest. I want you to slow down, soften your body, and really settle into some breathing to help you rest. And come back to this all the time. Anytime you want to rest, this 10 or 15 minutes should really be all for you. So thank you again, and then come back soon. Take care. Bye.